Hey there, I'm Eric. I'm going to be doing internal routing on my truck for the Bafang motor. Currently, you can see the wire down here, and it's on the outside, and I got it zip tied on, which isn't too bad. However, the bike does have internal routing already on it, and it does already have this free port open over here. So one of the things I did is I went out and I ordered the Bafang wire, so just in case I made any mistakes, I wouldn't render my bike useless for the moment. So I'll have a spare. One will be internally implanted into the bike, and the other one I guess will be my backup one. But first, the other thing we have also is a little headlight that comes with it. This is the light that comes on when you hold the little button. So I'm going to also do this internal routing, but I'm also not going to have this always on the bike. I'm going to mount this up front on the bike, shorten the cable on it, internally route it, and have it come out the other end and attach to the motor. So I'm going to put the light here in the front. I already have a mount for one of my other lights that I have. So I can mount it up here at top like that, say if I have a front bag on. Or I should also be able to flip the bolt around on it. I can also have it down here or on a low angle. That should work. May have to tighten it up here a little bit, but not too bad. Yeah, it doesn't cause the bike to look unbikish. Comes with this really long cable that I'll definitely short, and I'll end up reusing this connector here. For this next part, you're going to want to find two real thin wires. You don't want them very thick. There's not very much power going through that little light. I think it's like a 6 volt. I'm not too sure how many amps. I don't think it's more than 2 amps. So I found me two thin wires here. The other thing you're gonna need is electrical tape. And last but not least for this step, you're gonna need a wire. This is one of the brake cables or shift cables. I'm not too sure which one, but you're gonna need one of them. Luckily from other projects, I have plenty of them sitting around. The electrical wire doesn't have enough rigidity to it to make it all the way through. So in my case, I'm gonna reuse one of these holes because the leftover hole I'm gonna use for all the Bafang controls. So I'm gonna start by feeding it down into there, and then once I get it right, it may take a few tries of backing it out and coming forward to get it to poke out through the bottom here. Then you can retrieve the wire out of the other end. I have to admit, here on the Trek, it did take quite a bit of fishing. Some other bikes you may want to use techniques like a string and a vacuum. Definitely becomes challenging when you're trying to go through a pre-existing hole like I'm doing here. Then what you're going to want to do is cut a long piece of electrical tape. Probably, I don't know, what is that, about 2.5 inches. We're going to put half of it near the edge of the wire like so. And then the other half with the electrical wire with it snipped off all the way clean like that. Just gonna butt them up against each other like that. Now I'm gonna wrap the tape around it, trying to get it as tight as I can. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but I am trying to squeeze it through pretty small little holes. Not really looking to bunch the tape up. Pretty much the object here is to make sure the tape don't come off. And now that I got that taped on, should hold pretty firm. I'm gonna go ahead and start fishing it through by pulling the wire. Taking care around when I start entering through the hole to make sure I don't snag up on anything. I'm gonna just kind of guide it with my hand. And I'm gonna trying to get it through the hole that already has a cable in it. Gonna go ahead and keep fishing it through. Okay, now that I got it pulled up and I can see the tape, I want to go ahead and grab a hold of that. And here's the part where we pull, and we really hope the wire doesn't come out of the tape or the tape break on us. And there we go, I got a hold of the wire. Okay, now I just got to do one more wire in that same spot, which is a little bit tighter, and it'll be ready. Now that I have the one wire in there though, I'm going to add a piece of tape to both ends so I can mark the difference between the two. Okay, now that second wire is in, now I can go ahead and shorten this and make a connector for it. For this upper connection, I'm going to use some bullet connectors. It's low voltage, should work out well for it, and it does protect the one polarity from getting wet, which pretty much makes it water resistant. I'm going to try these waterproof seal connectors. Pretty much you just put the wires in there and then use a heat gun and it should seal up. I don't know, see how they work. Because I'm going to go with the one that has the tape on it will be the positive. So pretty much just slide that part over. And I'm going to do the same on this side. And then for both those, I'm going to go ahead and slide a heat shrink down. So I'm going to wrap my positive up to that one using the bullet. So pretty much you do it like the old electrical tape days, and you just twist the two sides together. And then we go ahead and slide this little guy right over it until pretty much you can see the two wires joining where the little bead of solder is right there. All right, now I just got to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, now I just got to turn on the heat gun and start applying heat. So you apply heat right here in the center and then kind of work your way back and forth. If you hold it too long in one spot, it'll burn. But basically what you're looking for is until the solder starts going shiny and it looks like it went into the wire and everything's connected. And then everything should be connected up real good. Nice. I like them. Nice and strong. Definitely waterproof. I don't think anything's going to get in there. They got some kind of gel in there. That is cool. I really like these. You can find them down in the description. Solder seal wire connectors. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but definitely saves quite a bit of time not having to solder them by hand and then heat shrink them over. I was adding silicone before, but yeah, I like that. So now I add my heat shrink over the top and it should look real clean. I'm going to hit that with the heat gun real quick. That looks pretty good right there. So I'll pretty much have my light plug in right to there. Don't need very much wire, just pretty much enough for it to not get snagged up on anything. So I'm gonna do that one real quick. Pretty much it's the same way as this one. It's just the other side of the bullet connector. So one of the first things I want to do before I put the bullet connector on is determine how much wire length I'm gonna need here. I want enough so my handlebars can do pretty much be able to spin all the way that way if need be, or the other way. So I'm gonna cut it right there and add the bullet connector onto it. Bam. Little side note, if you don't have extra wire laying around, you could have definitely used the two wires that came with the kit. You may be able to fish them both through at the same time, or one at a time if that didn't work. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna end up being doing them on the other side. So yeah, if you want to save yourself a step, try fishing this whole thing through. Okay, now I can just plug in my light and take it on and off as needed. Of course, I still got to do the other side over here. So pretty much I just got to shorten the wires coming out of the bike and shorten the old wire coming off that and attach these two, and then it can be hooked up and ran like a normal light where you hit the up button to turn it on. The light that came with it has wires so small that you have to strip them with your fingernails. Tried with my wire strippers, didn't work in the smallest setting. But yeah, that works. Nice. Now I just connect the two ends, one coming from the motor and the one I just added onto the bike. And there we go. And I just pretty much just got to clean up these wires. I'll wait till I got the main wire internally routed. And for the main Bafang cable, I have one more port all the way open so I don't have to try to share with another one. Many of you may have two open. This one here is actually my dropper post. So this should be a little bit easier to feed in and out, except the cable is significantly larger. So I'm gonna feed that in through here and then out through the bottom, just like I did the other side. Next thing I did is I went and tested out the replacement wire I have, just to make sure it works before I do this. It'd be awful to get it in there and find out something's wrong and it was the wire to begin with. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect that now. Probably gonna end up cutting the cable probably roughly about here so I can attach it to the fish line. Then I'm gonna fish it all the way through and then connect it back to the harness side. Of course, you're gonna want to also make sure this is all unplugged when you're doing this. So basically, I just went enough to insert the wires back into there and hide the connections. There's gonna be 8 of them right there. Committed now. And they each got their own color, so pretty much we're gonna play the color matching game. So now I need to basically feed this back up to the underside of the bike attached to the wire. One of the things I'm gonna end up doing after I splice the wires out from here is I'm gonna end up weeding it down like this. I was just experimenting around, and the jacket, once it's weeded down, almost like whittling wood, is just barely gonna fit in there. So I'm probably gonna offset the connections. I can stagger them as I'm putting them in, and that should work. Now I'm gonna pull the main sheath off, exposing all the wires, and this will be how I'll be able to fish them through. Now I'm gonna tape the wire strands right to the end of the wire, just like I did with the lights, except Probably on this one, I'm probably gonna overlap a little bit more because I have a little bit more of a hole to go through this time. Also using a little bit more of a wrap technique on this one. Like I said, I don't need to worry about room quite as much. Just really kind of make sure you got that bullet end right there, so when it first comes through, it doesn't catch. After that, it should be fine. Just gonna wrap it all the way down to the end of the wire here and then pull right through. It's pretty tight fit going into that bottom part of the bracket. Pretty much, it's a little of a combination of I had to push and pull here, and I'm just to the tape end right now. Now I have my 8 color-coded wires. Now I just got to do the same to the other side of the wire. And I went ahead and made like a little almost like an arrowhead point in the thing, so it'll be able to fit into the end there, make it all look real clean. All right, I got the blue wire already done. I'm gonna make it the longest. Already got the heat shrink solder thing on there. So I'm gonna twist it up, put it on, and then I'm gonna stagger them. I'm gonna have them at different lengths as I go because I need to get them back in the hole with the heat shrink and everything to be able to make everything look real good. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all these real quick, just like bam. Okay, and there's the harness connected with all the colors. Okay, so now I'm gonna try to fish these all back in and make this look better. All right, look at that, that is nice. Pretty much, I'm gonna flip it over, give it a good test. On the motor side, I can pretty much push the cable just back into the frame, make it as short as possible so it'll plug in right there. There's the current motor cable right there. A lot of this is the older one I still need to take off. So I'm gonna hook everything up, test it out real quick, and then if that works out, I'm gonna take off my test cable. Okay, so I'm gonna clean up all the wiring here and it should look much, much better. Not all this ugly ickiness. It's just disgusting, I tell you. It's just filthy, filthy. First thing you want to do after you do any kind of wiring job is test it to make sure, well, everything works still. Go ahead and turn her on. Welcome. Nice, that works. Let's check this brake. Nice, symbol came on. And that one, nice, symbol came on. And pretty much just got to test the accelerator. Nice. Go ahead and test that front light we hooked up. So hold the up button. Nice. And everything works. That worked out real good. Luckily, I didn't hit any kind of speed bumps except for having to fish the wire through quite a few times. It did take me a few attempts to get it to work right. The wires on the bottom now definitely look cleaner. There's not quite the football of wires that used to be there because I was able to basically delete part of the cable there, and it's, well, a lot of it's inside of the frame. It also looks really nice not having zip ties all across the top, and with the wire strung, it's all internal wiring and all internal cables now. Looks really good. I like it. I think it's probably the best wire management you could possibly do with the Bafang, short of probably opening the engine up and shortening a lot of the wires coming off of it, but eek. Because you don't only want to do that one out of warranty. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, the way I felt comfortable doing it is I ordered the extra wire. You can find that down in the description below. And that basically gave me the confidence to do it. Now I got the internal wire and still got the original wire that went with it. So if I want to put it on either bike or anything. Anyways, till next time, try to have a good day.